Hello, everyone. Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Welcome to the bare bones version of my new studio space. I've got a lot of work to do still. I'm in like the corner of this. Hi, welcome. For some reason, there's a lot of latency right now. I'd like to get that fixed. I don't know what's happening, but it feels like it's been a long time since I've been able to stream because, I've been busy working on lots of other things. So, welcome to the teaser preview of the new studio space. It is a lot of work is yet to happen, so stay tuned. This is very much the beta version of the studio. So, how are you guys? Hope everyone is doing well. I missed you guys. I feel like it's been so long. The month of June was basically a month of taxes, driving, moving stuff, and building out things. Still working on a lot of building of the rest of the studio space. There's a lot of sound treatment that is in the works right now. I'm building these sound treatment carts that have different like sound absorption and sound reflection boards that are all on wheels, so I can move them around as the studio space needs change. It's not a huge space, but it's I'm just trying to do it right, kind of so that it's flexible and can change however I need it to change. So hello, everybody. Rohan in our Discord says, to be honest, I miss the videos with the spacesuit on. I don't. I don't at all. Please never request for me to be wearing the spacesuit ever again. That was horrible. It was bad. It was so hot and stinky and terrible to put on every time. It made me chafe. It was just, especially in 2018, when was that? 2018, 2017, 2018. Yeah, I shot a series for Facebook. So Facebook Watch was Facebook's original programming. We did a full production. We did a full blown, we're going to make a TV show. And I had to wear the spacesuit for basically every day for 8 to 12 hours a day for basically 2 weeks straight. And at that point I only think I put it on 3 times after that because I was done. So how are you guys? And of course, I still love you. Says, what if we bought you a SpaceX spacesuit with the colors and everything? No, I just want to be me now. I want to be an everyday astronaut, just a normal person, not someone trying to wear something ridiculous. I like just being able to be Tim Dodd, hanging out and enjoying some normalcy. Is that too much to ask? Okay, let's get into this because it's been a while. So let's see here. Let's go. YouTube is linked in the tomorrow. Okay, good. Sounds good. I've got the tomorrow chat up, so I will be able to pull your guys' comments up here as we are recording. I totally forgot to, in my new rush to finish things, I did not remember to have the new countdown clock up. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go like this. We're going to go to everydayastronaut.com. We're going to go to Pics or It Didn't Happen, which is today's Rocket Lab launch. That is why we're here. We're not here to see a studio space. So I apologize. Again, I've got a lot of things to still do and all that stuff. So and it is red today for Rocket Lab because, and I'll have a lot more coloring and stuff. My idea is I want it to be colored based on different launch providers. And I'm thinking we might, I don't know if this is cheesy or not, but we might make it the sign go green once they've launched. And then I don't know if it scrubs, stay red. I don't know. We can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. This is our space now. Okay, so Pics or It Didn't Happen. So today, July 4th, happy 4th of July, by the way, if you're in the United States. This is the day of independence for the United States or something. It's the day of America here in the United States. This is going to be taking off in about 25 minutes or so from in New Zealand time. That'd be 9:19 a.m. The mission name is called Pics or It Didn't Happen, which is a rideshare mission between Canon Electronics, Planet, and Faraday. The launch provider for this is Rocket Lab, as if you couldn't read the title. The customers, again, Canon Electronics, Planet Labs, and Faraday. The rocket is the Electron Rocket, which I have, by the way, check this out. A little mini Electron. It's actually super high fidelity. Let me see if my headphones will... Look at this thing. It's got oh, I'm so nervous to touch it. But it's got lots of cool things. It's got... Yeah, it's a legit little model. Thanks to my friends at Rocket Lab for for sending that my way. I'm obsessed with the Electron, and I ran over my own headphone cord. I love the Electron. It's easily my favorite black rocket. Yeah, so how cool is that? So anyway, that's what's launching today, the Electron Rocket. It's taking off from Launch Complex 1A, so the first and original launch pad. Still the only launch pad to have launched anything, even though there's another one pretty much online ready to go here in Wallops, Virginia, in the United States. But this is Launch Complex 1A at the Mahia Peninsula in New Zealand. The payload mass. Now, we got a couple different things here. We've got the CESat 1B, which weighs 50 kilograms. That's what, about 110 pounds or so. Super Doves, we got they're 20 kilograms for the 4 of them. So, or for the 5 of them, there's 5 of them at 4 kilograms each. Faraday has one at around 5 kilograms. So total, this is only 75 kilograms. That's not a lot. That's, again, like probably 165, 170 pounds. That's the size of a pretty slim adult, or I guess average probably weight adult human male. I don't know, somewhere around there. A decent sized, healthy individual. No SpaceX models. I don't have them in here yet. I have not brought my SpaceX models back into this space yet. So that will happen in the near future. Don't you worry. I miss them. Oh yeah, you guys do need the screen. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is heading out to sun synchronous orbit, which takes a little more energy than just regular low Earth orbit. This is going 500 kilometers by 500 kilometers, and sun synchronous means that it's always basically it's crossing the Earth at the exact same time at all times. It's basically just always sun on. And don't worry, I definitely will not forget to confirm pointy end up, flaming end down, which is why I even wore the shirt today, just so I wouldn't forget. So okay, let's keep going here. Will they be attempting to recover the first stage? No, there will be no recovery attempts until flight 17. So this is the 13th flight. So we have 13, 14, 15, 16. So in 5 flights, that will be when we finally start. Well, not finally. I mean, that's still a relatively short amount of time altogether that we'll hopefully see them attempt to launch. I was guessing September was kind of my original guess. I'm still thinking that's probably fairly close because they're getting close to about that every 2-week cadence, which is awesome. So yeah. So that won't happen until the 17th. Where will they land the first stage? They are not even going to attempt to do any kind of recovery or any kind of data that I've heard about. So the booster will just crash into the ocean downrange. Will they be attempting to recover the fairings? No, the Electron does not have this capability. We've never heard Rocket Lab talk about recovering the nose cone or the fairings of the Electron at all. The only company that we've ever seen attempt and do anything like that is, of course, SpaceX. Not saying that they're the only ones that can. But for now, they're the only ones that think that is, I think it's worth it. So, and then of course we have our graphic here from Jeff Barrett. Thank you, Jeff. So this shows to remember that the Electron is a small launch vehicle. It's maybe one of the smallest orbital rockets ever made. Very small, 17 meters tall, so 55 feet tall, 1.2 meters wide. Wide is not very wide. It's really not that much bigger than, like, you could probably fit one of these inside of a Falcon 9 fairing almost. It is, and multiple of them, because it's definitely not very wide. You could fit like a whole host of these things. So yeah, so there you go, Rocket Lab. That's how big the little Rutherford engine is. That's Peter Beck, the CEO. If you guys haven't watched any of my interviews with Peter Beck, the CEO and founder of Rocket Lab, I promise, I think there's 3 of them now. I did one in like an hour-long one in New Zealand almost 2 years ago. I did another one on their launch pad at Wallops, Virginia in December. And then I did a Skype one around like March or April this year. And every one of those is packed full of phenomenal information. I am telling you, Peter Beck knows every in and out, every single inch of his vehicles. I just think he's one of those people that he understands where, I guess, when we're conversing, I can tell he knows what I'm thinking about or like how I'm about to ask the question. So we just talk really well together. Because he's just got all the answers. And I love people that have all the answers. So I can just ask him anything and I know I'm going to get a really good, someone with just a depth of knowledge. And that is definitely Peter Beck. He is Awesome. And so, yes, this engine is 3D printed, entirely 3D printed. The entire thrust chamber here, which is basically this section down to the throat and the nozzle. And then the way that rocket engines work is they actually run the fuel through those walls. So this entire thing, you can almost think of this entire thing as like any liquid-fueled, regeneratively cooled rocket engine. You can basically think of like having tiny little tubes inside the walls of the thrust chamber, inside of the walls of the rocket engine, and then all of that goes up this pipe basically and into the engine itself to be burned. So first they're isolated to keep it cool and from melting itself, and then they're used to try to melt their upcoming neighbors in the near future. So yeah, these are just awesome little engines. The other cool thing is, as you can see here, they just have these little electric motors. You know, they're not much bigger than, like, as you can tell in the picture, as like a soda can or something like that. It's not very big, which is just super, super cool. So let's see here. Let me get to some of your guys' questions here. I'm having a few problems here from, I'm trying to make this stuff work on screen. Let me see if it does work. Thank you, Bait215. I can't promise that all these are going to work at all times, but I'm going to try to answer a few of you guys' questions here before the official stream starts. I'm going to make sure I have it kind of pulled up here so that if it does happen, it should be happening any second. So the live stream for them is not quite ready yet. Okay, but Skip Crenshaw, thank you so much. You are awesome. I really appreciate that, Skip. And Stefan, first caffeine donation, caffeine donation from Stefan Nancaro. Thank you so much. Stand by. Hopefully we'll have this studio space a lot more. If you saw what's on the other side of this camera, it's just like boxes and unfinished flooring and big holes in walls and unfinished sound treatment and unfinished networking solutions. I'm going to be sitting on 10 gig internet on July 6th. 10 gig. You heard that. 10 freaking gigs. So when I start shooting like 3 hours of footage in 6K and I send it off to Andrew to help, we are collaborating on edits now where we're using Premiere Pro. They have this like collaboration tool for editing videos. I'll be able to send him like 500 gigs worth of footage, in minutes we're talking. So that's what I'm talking about. So yes, 10 gig internet. That'll be awesome. I'm truly living in the future. Yeah, not 1 gig. Not 1 gig. Come on. That's so 2013. 10, baby. Yeah, I'm so stoked. All right. Ooh, the Rocket Lab stream has started. I will get this pulled up here. And here, I'll make it little like that. And I'm going to let their music play. Just give me 1 second here so that we can hear it and we can know when they're live. Okay. Maybe it's not doing anything yet, but hopefully it starts doing something soon. Okay. So, I apparently have this stuff up on screen on this one and it's totally wrong. It's all entirely wrong. I am such a rookie. Overlay gone. Countdown clock. Well, that's probably right-ish. The countdown clock might be somewhere near right-ish. I don't know. That's how much time it's going to be eventually. Okay, so anyway, the black shirt's not working on the black background. Good call. Maybe... Oh, we got some music. We have some music, ladies and gentlemen. I'll let it be very quiet here in the background. All right, so anyway, let me keep going here. Scott, thank you for the pair. Bait215 again, thank you so much. Carson, Tim, thanks for being a stellar host and providing informative and well-organized information about current rocket technology and events. Thank you. You watch your channel a lot. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Carson, for saying hi. That stuff really means a lot. I really always appreciate the feedback, guys. It really means a lot. Framework, just be Tim Dodd, mate. We love you. Thank you. See, that's where I've been at for the past basically 2 years. Like the Everyday Astronaut stuff with the spacesuit was it was originally an art project. I still think a lot of people don't understand how this whole thing started. I was a photographer. I bought a spacesuit as a joke. I started taking pictures that were like kind of funny and juxtaposition-y pictures of a astronaut like stuck on Earth, or kind of open to interpretation there, but just that juxtaposition between an astronaut and daily life here on Earth. It started as that, and then in doing those photos, I fell in love with spaceflight and spaceflight history and what was going on in the future. And now it's wanting to learn more and helping other people get excited about what's happening and want to also learn more with me. And we can all learn together and be an informed audience. Here we go. Their stream is starting up. I'll get back to your guys' questions. Innocent Raptor, thank you. Also, Let's Party from Ves Salith, thank you. And Johnny B says that Rocket Lab model is almost full scale. That is awesome. That's great. All right, they are ramping up here. I'll get them full screen here in a second. And let's watch and see if I like listening to them, of course, because we do hear about updates and things, including scheduling and any upcoming missions and things like that too. So, of course, the backlight changes colors. Yeah, we can do whatever we want. We can change everything. But for now, we're going to keep it red because it's Rocket Lab. And also, yeah, all these uplighting kits, it'll be very different next time you guys see me. All right, here we go. Let's listen in.
Morning and welcome to yet another Electron launch. My name is Max Muncy and I'm joining you from Rocket Lab Mission Control in Auckland, New Zealand. It's currently 9:06 a.m. on Sunday, July 5th here, but if you're watching from the US, happy Independence Day. What you see on your screens is a live view of Electron as it awaits its coming liftoff in 13 minutes from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Mahia. We've dubbed this mission Pics It Didn't Happen in reference to some of the payloads on board this flight, and this is a special one as it will be Rocket Lab's lucky number 13th Electron launch. Our launch operations team has been working through the night to prepare for liftoff this morning at 9:19 a.m. local New Zealand time. Payload integration took place in the clean rooms at LC-1 in the days leading up to this mission before Electron was rolled out from the hangar down the 170-meter runway to the pad. Fueling with RP-1 and liquid oxygen has been completed, and coming up shortly, our launch director will conduct the go, no-go poll. This poll will confirm that the vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all green for launch.
Canon stations are currently proceeding with the go no-go sequence. Stage, there you go.
We've never seen all the sheep.
Yep, stages go.
Avionics.
In the foreground.
Avionics is go.
FTS.
AFTS is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
BMS.
BMS is go.
Beacon.
Beacon is go.
RF.
RF is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC. Go. BLS.
BLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET. MET is go. MM.
MM is go.
LD sub.
LD subs go.
And executive.
Executive is go for launch.
All stations LD on mission. Go no-go sequence.
That all sounds good.
Today's launch is headed to a circular 500-kilometer low Earth orbit at a 97-degree inclination and is carrying 7 satellites on board Electron. Our mission partners include Canon Electronics Incorporated, whose payload was procured by Spaceflight. We have several small sats from Planet, which operates the world's largest Earth observation constellation. And finally, we have In-Space Missions, a British small mission management company. Canon Electronics spacecraft is called CESat-1B, and its objective is to test and demonstrate Earth imaging technology they've developed ahead of producing the microsat for future missions. This launch will be the second time Electron has ferried satellites to space for Earth imaging company Planet. Planet launched their Dove spacecraft on board Rocket Lab's second Electron launch, the STILL testing mission, back in 2018. This time, Electron will carry 5 of Planet's latest generation satellites to space, the Super Doves, where they will join the remainder of the flock already in orbit. The final payload for this mission is the Faraday 1 6U CubeSat from In-Space Missions, which is carrying experiments from 7 of their customers as part of the company's hosted payload service. Faraday 1 is the first of a series of satellites from In-Space Missions providing services for research organizations and commercial customers, including Airbus Defence and Space, Lacuna Space, the Space Environment Research Center in Canberra, and more. These customers are testing a range of technology concepts from 360-degree optical video imaging to radio frequency spectrum monitoring. Each of these 7 payloads will be delivered to precise orbital insertions by Electron's 3rd stage, which is called the kick stage, and that will fire its Curie propulsion system approximately 50 minutes into flight after separating from the 2nd stage. Our broadcast will end just after separation of the kick stage, so we won't be showing payload deployment, but check in on Rocket Lab's social media channels for confirmation of deployment in about an hour's time. So here at Rocket Lab, we are no stranger to having a little bit of fun with our mission names, and we're continuing that tradition today. The name Pics or It Didn't Happen makes reference to the payloads on board, all of which are Earth imaging smallsats. The patch pays homage to the viewfinder of a camera, while the settings around the border are linked to various aspects of the flight. The 540 on the far left is the approximate number of seconds before Electron reaches orbit.
That's awesome.
We've got 7 payloads on board the vehicle. -3 is the number of seconds into the countdown when Electron's 9 Rutherford engines on stage 1 ignite.
Oh,
And
this is
500
great.
is the number of kilometers above the Earth's surface this mission is targeting for a circular orbit. Our patches are applied to each fairing before launch, so if you look closely, you should be able to make it out.
I love that. Yes, now we're talking photography and a bunch of awesome little details, little Easter eggs. Now we're talking.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 high voltage pump lips have passed and engines are ready.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 high voltage batteries ready for flight. Avionics terminal checks complete.
Copy all avionics on stage, thank you.
Yeah, this is the mission
GCLD
for
on mission.
photography people.
LD.
Yeah, please proceed with sequence 47 pad ready for launch.
Sequence 47 in work.
So this is one of my favorite views of our launch site, showcasing the Mahia Peninsula. In the left foreground, you should be able to see the road leading down to the launch facility. In the background, you have Portland Island. This view is roughly 3 kilometers away from Electron, near Rocket Lab range control. Today's flight will be Electron's 13th overall launch and the second since COVID-19 restrictions were lifted in New Zealand. Flight 13 also marks our fastest turnaround time between launches, as it was only 3 weeks ago that Electron launched from this same pad at Launch Complex 1, carrying an educational smallsat for NASA, a technology demo for the University of New South Wales, and 3 payloads for the National Reconnaissance Office. While the launch team were preparing the Flight 12 vehicle for liftoff, our vehicle integration team at the Auckland Production Complex were prepping the first stage of Flight 13 for shipment down to Mahia.
And I'm gonna just real quick mute the music because sometimes we end up getting copyright strikes on music, but let's look at this gorgeous footage. I have been right there up in that little glass box. That's where I interviewed Peter Beck for the first time. And I have to say their factory is, it's like a work of art. It is so pretty. And just, you can tell they're just set up to just produce rockets at a quick pace. I mean, they're producing these things and hoping to start launching these about every 2 weeks. They're saying even faster than that. They're saying once a week. And now that they'll pretty soon have 3 launch pads online, I'm starting to not doubt that. I think the harder part now is the actual like space considerations, like space traffic and weather. Peter Beck the other day said that Starlink's already actually causing a headache when it comes to threading the needle between Starlink satellites for other launch providers. So I think those types of considerations are going to be a little bit harder than
Production and launch capabilities for our Electron rocket. Right now, the team rolls a complete vehicle off the factory floor once every 18 days, all in pursuit of our ultimate goal to launch weekly missions in the near future. Rapid production is only useful if paired with rapid launch capability, however, but we've got that covered as well. Rocket Lab's privately owned and operated Launch Complex 1 is able to support up to 120 missions a year. A second launch pad is currently under construction at the New Zealand site and will be online by the end of 2020. Our third launch pad in the United States is located at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 2 on Wallops Island in Virginia. We'll be launching our first mission from home soil before the end of the summer, and it will be from this same pad where we'll launch Electron to the moon for NASA's Capstone mission early next year. These launch pads and flight opportunities are all part of our vision to open access to space for small satellites and make convenient, frequent delivery to space easier than ever before. Right now, we're at T-minus 5 minutes and counting, and all systems are nominal as we count down to liftoff. If for any reason we need to scrub today's launch, we have daily launch opportunities within the same time window in the days ahead. Now, you'll no doubt have heard that our team is working towards converting Electron into a reusable launch vehicle. Our chosen method utilizes a helicopter, which will catch the first stage from the sky as it descends underneath a parachute. We're not conducting any recovery testing on today's mission, but work is continuing behind the scenes as the team prepares for the first return of an Electron booster. It's something we're really excited for and a huge step forward in our overall goal of making frequent, reliable launch a reality. We're targeting our 17th Electron launch for the first attempt, and we're at Flight 13 already, so we'll be at 17 in no time. So with just 4 minutes left on the clock, Electron is moving into the final stage of the countdown. At T-minus 2 minutes, the rocket's internal flight computers will take over the countdown before Electron's 9 Rutherford engines ignite at T-minus 3 seconds. So we're going to hand you over to the operators in mission control to listen in to the final moments before launch, and we'll check back in with you shortly after liftoff.
This is the good stuff. Yeah, and that is their mission control there in Auckland, New Zealand. Super cool. I don't know. Maybe I just am fond of their of everything being black. It's awesome. Once we have a shot on the pad, we will be sure and confirm. Just in case their rocket orientation specialist, was, not paying attention or something, I will go ahead and confirm for us. I'm not actually hearing anything from them. There we go. I do have a shot there. It does appear that the pointy end is up and the flamey end is down. I think they're going the right way for space today, ladies and gentlemen. That's always very important.
Stations, this is LD on mission. From now on, there should be no red flags in your LCCs. Beacon, please confirm flight computer as goes green.
All as goes green.
Beacon, please lock auto sequence and confirm.
Auto sequence locked.
Stations LD on mission, we're currently go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes. And I can confirm LD is go for launch.
We're waiting for them to verify that they are totally go for launch. All right, so T-minus 2 minutes now, basically. And I should remind you guys, the reason that the rocket it's still an entirely black rocket, but I always want to remind you guys that what you're seeing, why it's half white now, that's ice. That is ice buildup because that's where the liquid oxygen is. And liquid oxygen, again, is like a minus 183 degrees centigrade. So it's really, really, really cold. In order to be liquid, it has to be like cryogenic, extremely cold. And so those tanks were that bit of carbon fiber, because this is an entirely carbon fiber fuselage and tanks. Where it's white, that's literally just humidity in the air coming in contact with the humidity in the air coming in contact with the really, really cold carbon fiber and the liquid oxygen inside. And it's just creating ice, a thin layer of ice all the way around. You can tell exactly where the liquid oxygen tanks are on the first stage and the upper stage up there, that other little area that is white. That's one of my favorite things about this vehicle. You can see similar things like that on the Falcon 9 rocket after it comes in from reentry. Because of that ice barrier, the oxygen stage doesn't get nearly as much soot buildup from reentry as the RP1, which gets the RP1 tank doesn't have that like layer of ice protection. And so you can tell there's a distinct line between oxygen and RP1 tanks on the Falcon 9 after reentry. You can see a very extreme version of that on a black rocket with the white ice buildup on the outside. One of the coolest things. Okay, let's listen in here. And I'll get back to your guys' questions here afterwards too. So,
Water deluge is active.
Water deluge is ready. That's looking like they're going for it today.
Re-readying engines.
So remember, at T-minus 3 is when they ignite those engines, and they ignite fast. They just start up like right away.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. For some reason, it looked like it was sitting there. We have liftoff. Yeah, baby. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful morning there, New Zealand. Look at that.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Wow, that is a beautiful shot. I have to see a launch there.
Discharge is nominal.
Hurry up, COVID. Please be over so I can travel back to New Zealand
We're
and
at
see a
T
launch.
plus 45 seconds into flight, and we've had a successful liftoff from Pad A at Launch Complex 1. Next up will be Max Q, which is the point when the rocket is under the maximum amount of aerodynamic stress during its ascent.
Vehicle is supersonic. Approaching max Q.
There's condensation. That's just purely from the
Max Q.
a layer of right humidity levels and temperature and pressure, right altitude. That's
There's that call out from the team in Mission Control confirming Electron has passed through Max Q.
and again, there's 9 Rutherford engines on the bottom. And you'll notice their exhaust plume expanding as the air gets thinner and thinner. This is now at, it's coming up on 30 kilometers. So that's almost 10 miles in altitude. Oh, in a second, it'll be about 10 miles in altitude for those of us metrically impaired. Look at that. I just love watching the exhaust expand.
Coming up are 3 events which will occur in close proximity.
AOS at Chatham
First,
Station.
the 9 Rutherford engines will power down on the first stage, commonly known as main engine cutoff, or MECO,
Guidance is
before
nominal,
stage
30
1 and
seconds remaining.
stage 2 separate. Then the
Stage two
vacuum optimized
propulsion
engine
is
on stage
holding
2 will
nominal.
ignite as the vehicle continues onward.
Now, another fun thing, because this is burning RP1 and it has long chain hydrocarbons, you'll notice that now we're not seeing the exhaust as bright. And that's because it's out of most of the atmosphere where there's an afterburning effect from the oxygen in the air that makes the exhaust still remain bright. Now you'll notice it's almost dark, and all you're seeing now is the carbon soot being ejected from, and you'll notice some little sparks. Those are carbon stalactites that build up on the injector face. So might look like sparks, but they're little. You'll see it on the second stage a lot. There we go, stage separation.
Stage separation.
All right.
Stage 2 ignition.
Now notice the vacuum nozzle extension will glow bright red, because one of the things. So the top part that you're seeing at the very top part of the second stage engine bell is just like the first stage. It's regeneratively cooled. They run fuel through it, cool fuel. It cools off the nozzle, makes sure the engine in the combustion chamber doesn't melt itself. And then beyond that, so instead of trying to run fuel through all of that, the rest of that is just a lightweight niobium metal, which is a metal alloy. And all it does is it's thin, and there we go. There's the nose cone deploy. Sweet. It's an awesome camera. Bye-bye, fairing. And so the reason this glows bright red is because it actually does radiate heat away. It just gets really hot. They just let it get really hot, but it's below the melting point of niobium. So it's glowing hot, really, really, really hot red, but it does not need to have fuel actively running through it. And so the nozzle extension is very long and just glowing bright red.
At 140 kilometers altitude, and it's above the Earth on its way to orbit. And one of the perks of the job, we've got an incredible view of the Earth below us.
That is a beautiful view. We are getting you'll notice the video feed from them is kind of a little bit choppy at times, because you'll notice that the numbers is fine here on screen. That's running smooth at full real time, but sometimes, it's in space right now. It's 160 kilometers. It's 100 miles in altitude. This thing is way up there. It's fully in the vacuum space.
Continuing to look good. We've got a couple of boxes left to tick off ahead of kick stage separation, those being battery hot swap and second engine cutoff coming up shortly. Electron is soaring to space at a speed of 10,900 kilometers per hour.
So now don't forget there's actually there's 3 batteries on the upper stage like this. You can see the silver battery pack there, and they deploy 2 of them in parallel at the exact same time on opposite sides of the stage. That way you ditch all that heavy batteries, the weight of those heavy lithium ion batteries. They ditch, actually, I think they're lithium polymer technically, but they ditch them opposite of each other so that they cancel each other's movement out. And, if you just ditched one, it would kind of kick the stage around a little bit. By ditching them both at the exact same time, it's no big deal.
Electron will perform its battery hot swap. The pumps on the Rutherford engine are powered by batteries, and once these have been depleted, we swap power over to a new battery, allowing us to save mass on the way to orbit.
This is the good stuff here. So notice, like I said, it looks like little sparks coming out of the engine. Those are not sparks. That's actual
Nominal. 200 seconds remaining.
tiny bits of soot. There's little like soot think of like little soot deposits that almost look like you know, in caves, like those, or like an ice. What's that called? An ice. What's that? An ice pick? No, not an ice pick. I don't know. Anyway, those little stalactites. There's literal little buildups on the injector face that are made out of carbon soot. The same thing that you'll see like in your in a gasoline or diesel engine. Those will build up and then they'll break off and they'll end up being on fire and you'll see them shooting out of the nozzle. They are not sparks. I just think that's really cool. Someone wants to know if that's in our Discord, if that's the second stage engine we can hear. No. There is an ambient sound coming from Rocket Lab's stream, but it is still running. But we lost
all stations on mission cord. Initiating SAP response plan.
So as you can see, Electron is at 13,700 kilometers per hour, is 191 kilometers above the Earth's surface as we're waiting for battery hot swap.
We lost video downlink though. Seems a little quiet. Come on, guys. Hopefully, just lost downlink, video downlink, or something. I want to hear about that battery hot swap.
At this time, it looks like the signal for our video feed has become too weak to receive. However, we are still receiving good telemetry from Electron.
There we go.
So we're going to switch over to mission control, and we'll provide updates throughout the rest of the mission.
That's what matters. Video is just a visual form of data for us, you know, for us humans. It doesn't really do too much for the actual mission other than give us some reassurance. So don't panic or anything yet. If they're still receiving good downlink, hopefully they'll update us on like the battery hot swap and things like that. So, and it is okay for the altitude to drop, by the way, guys, because depending on the mission profile, it is normal to be accelerating, and you'll let the spacecraft kind of go up, and you're pointing straight sideways, and the vehicle will have reached a temporary apogee while it extends and raises its perigee, while it raises its lowest point in the orbit. So if you're seeing things like the altitude drop, like we were a second ago, that can be normal. They still say they're receiving good telemetry from the vehicle, and it doesn't look like people are panicking. That does not look like a mission control that has lost a vehicle. But let's wait. If they said they're still getting good telemetry, let's wait just a little bit here. Although they aren't saying too much. This is definitely the quietest Rocket Lab stream I've ever heard. This might, I don't want to spread any misinformation. We'll wait to hear from them, but it is actually kind of starting to feel like something just did not go right. We should look back at that telemetry and see if it was no longer accelerating. Yikes. I'm tempted to pull up the replay, but I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, this isn't good. Man. Yeah, they cut the audio from the room too. Shoot.
Stations of mission control.
This is Mission Control in Auckland. It appears we have lost our video feed for today's mission. Without these beautiful views from launch, we're going to end today's webcast here, but stay tuned to social media for our updates. Thanks again for joining us for another Electron mission.
Okay, let's take a look back at last time we saw telemetry. Last time we saw footage. Okay, here. So it was still accelerating here at T plus 5 minutes. Now,
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
This is before the battery hot swap.
Now in about
Speed is
90
still
seconds
going
time,
up again.
Electron will perform its battery.
I'm going to mute that. Okay, so speed's still going up, no problem. Altitude still going up at this point, no problem. Oh, we were seeing the speed basically. And then we probably going to right around 6 minutes. Uh-oh, speed dropped right there. No way. I did not notice that. Yeah. They lost it right there. Speed should not be going down. I did not notice that earlier. Oh, no. That was right at the battery hot swap time, too. No, that's a shame. So Rocket Lab has never actually failed. Oh, man. Yeah. So now it's speeding up because it's falling. You'll notice that correlates with probably 9.8 meters per second of... Shoot. Oh, man. All right, guys. This is a speech I did not want to have to give today. But this is definitely a friendly reminder, everyone. Be kind on the internet to anyone involved in the project or even anyone working on a project, period. Like, there's no need to jump to conclusions. There's no need here for anyone to be, negative about this. A failure sucks. I've only witnessed, I think in my live streams launching, I think I've only witnessed, 2 failures of an actual launch before. So I'm a little lost for words, to be honest. That is a huge problem. This is not, this is going to be hard. There's going to be this really sucks because there's a long, they're speeding up so much. And, if this is something that they can't figure out, it might be a long period of time before they're able to launch again, which they're on track to be launching every 2 weeks. Again, they really haven't failed their first launch. They had it didn't get into orbit because they had to terminate it because their ground system failed tracking. So that's the only the rocket has never failed. They've never had a failed orbital insertion and never a failed delivery of an actual payload. Their third mission ever was the first customer mission, and so this would have been the 13th, lucky number 13. Dang it, that really, really, really sucks. Yeah, that was definitely right at the battery hot swap. Oh man, that is too bad. I'll be answering some of you guys' questions, but again, just friendly reminder, I'm so sorry for all of those, for the customers and for space, or for Rocket Lab and the customers of spaceflight, including, we can look at that pre-launch preview again and kind of get a sense for, the customers on today was Canon Electronics, Planet Labs, Faraday. That is, dang it. Okay, well, everyone, condolences to my friends at Rocket Lab. Keep your head up. You'll obviously figure this out and make a better vehicle in the long run. We all know that that's you. Failures always bring up a weak point in a system, and they reveal themselves in nasty ways sometimes. But the unknowns are always the unknown variable, right? You never know a failure or a weak spot until it rears its ugly head and becomes just blatantly obvious, unfortunately. So I really hope this all gets sorted out quickly for them so they can get back into flight. Man, yeah. So everyone just maybe let's do a hashtag like keep your head up or heads up or we'll get them next time type of attitude, because obviously I'm Team Space. I know the hard work of these engineers and all the people working in the aerospace industry, working long hours. 2020 has been a hard year already for everyone, and this is the defining moment where we can make those decisions to either be a positive source out there and people that are working on uniting and bringing people together, or this 2020 can be that year where we're being divided. And I personally have always been a fan of like anti-tribalism and trying to learn myself about the things that I'm being divided on. Those things that, the things that in my head, I'll maybe have like a bias towards someone or a group of people or, of differing opinions than mine or something, and I'll lump them into this, and it's me versus them or something. And I think 2020 has done enough to us. Like, let's come together, at least as a spaceflight community. Please, let's just come together and support everyone working on advancing our exploration, our knowledge, and our advances in spaceflight. I mean, I think spaceflight is the future of humanity. It's literally the next step of humans going and exploring. And I don't want that to be divided out between teams. I do say we're all on the same team, hashtag Team Space type of thing, but it's okay to have like a favorite player on the team, but it's not, we don't need to think of like, haha, or anything like, there's no gotchas in spaceflight, because that is humanity trying to go and explore together. Like, yeah, so let's just keep that in mind, everyone. Let's come together on this. Let's be positive and be encouraging for not only for Rocket Lab but other rocket companies when things don't go as planned. You guys were with me when the Boeing Starliner didn't get into orbit and didn't end up being able to rendezvous with the International Space Station. We watched that together. I had the same speech then, basically like, this is not fun. We don't want this. I know that people like to pick on certain companies that may have procured more money for a new program than another company, or because you have a favorite and all of these things. But this is not the time to do that. This is not the time to do that. This is the time to be like, all right, let's put our heads together. Let's hope that they figure this out. Yeah. So, crap. Let's just say that sucks. But I know that they'll figure it out. I have no doubt that they'll figure it out and get everything back on track. So. Yep, I know I guess people in the spaceflight community don't like when someone says space is hard and just kind of want, but at the same time, space is hard. It's still difficult. We're riding the thinnest borders of what's physically possible to be able to get off of our planet. So, yeah, man. Okay, well, let's get through some of your guys' questions and answers and stuff. So, so let's see here. Innocent Raptor. I confirmed that the pointy end was up and the flamey end was down, but I should have confirmed if the battery swap mechanism was ready to go, the hot swap mechanism. Johnny B, that Rocket Lab model is almost full size. Yeah, sorry, I read that earlier. That is awesome. Let's see here. Where was that? Matthias. Sorry, it got out of order like it tends to do. Van Sande, thank you for your donation. Nerf. Hey, so a few weeks ago, I got my taxes back and I immediately tried to buy a lunar mission shirt, but it was out of stock. Will they be back in stock again? Yes, those are being refulfilled. Our shop, if you guys, 2020 has been hard on our store because we had to take like a 6 or 8 week pause because of COVID. Then as soon as we're kind of back online, all of a sudden, that's right when DM2 happened, and we had the most orders we've ever had all at once, like on a single day, basically. And so the store just got absolutely swamped and just absolutely hammered. And now, at this exact moment, the store is actually shut down again because in Long Beach there is a pretty bad outbreak of the in the pandemic regions, and so they're having to shut down for probably about a week or two just to be safe and make sure everyone is staying safe. So if you do or did place an order sometime today or the last couple days, it's probably going to be a week or two before it even ships out. So I appreciate your patience if you're shopping. The support means a lot, but please just let them safely get back to work when it's time. Again, 2020 has been hard for a lot of people, a lot of families, especially the people that run my store. Safety is most important. Period. Their health, their community, California, like that's way more important than a t-shirt. So let's see. This is a great idea. Dust in the Now. I will absolutely play Kerbal Space Program. We will show what happens when you cut an engine before orbital insertion. And we will get back. I'll answer a few more of your questions. But yeah, by the way, also speaking of, if you guys do want to help support what I do, consider becoming a Patreon supporter where you can gain access to our Discord channel. I will be much more active this month, finally, because I'm not in the middle of like 20 different things at once. Discord, I have missed you. I have not been able to, I have not really been able to be very active in the middle of all the things going on at once. So yes, if you want to join our awesome Discord community or our subreddit and see exclusive live streams and early access to like scripts and videos and some of the things we're doing behind the scenes, head on over to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. Again, that just totally helps me make upgrades to studio spaces and gear and try to do a better job of doing what I do. And so a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. Again, that's patreon.com/everydayastronaut if you want to help me continue to do what I do. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. I'm sorry that there's a huge delay in the stream. I don't know why. So I can't respond in real time as much as I would. Yeah. Okay, so let's get through a few weeks ago here. So thanks Nerf Maniac. Warriston, nothing to say, love the content. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Michael Beal, thank you so much. Mike Jacobs, congrats on the new studio. Thank you. Again, this is just a small sliver. Oh, I have a countdown clock that's probably been up there the whole time. Don't know how that happened. Sorry. This is a small sliver, still a very temporary version of the studio space. It'll be getting built out a lot better, way better lighting. There will be proper sound treatment. There will be, more space because this desk is going to kind of go that way a lot more. You'll see a little more of the room. Still trying to figure out the best layout, but that's why I'm kind of doing it in a way that I can move things around. So, yeah. We'll get there. We will get there. So there we go. Thank you so much, Mike. Bucky, well, when do I think I'm going back to Kennedy Space Center? You know what? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. At this point right now, Florida is one of the worst places in the world for COVID outbreaks. They're rolling back a lot of their things. I was originally going to try to come down for the Mars 2020, the Perseverance Mars rover launch, but I made a decision a couple weeks ago that it looked like it wasn't a very good idea. And just with everything I've been doing the past month, I really didn't want to be distracted from continuing to finish this space out and continue working on scripts, because one of those scripts I'm doing that I'm almost done with is Perseverance rover versus Curiosity rover, showing how the two rovers differ, what the upgrades are to the Perseverance rover, why there's another rover that's just like Curiosity and what it's doing differently, the helicopter that's going to be on it that I am really excited to talk about. How the landing sequence and stuff like that happens, kind of a fresh reminder on the sky crane system. Yeah, just kind of a lot of random things like that. So that'll be a fun video. I'm also about halfway done. I'm in the middle of like halfway done studio, halfway done script on that, halfway done script on, it's kind of SLS part 2, but it's really a look at Artemis versus the Apollo missions, how the pricing setup is different, how some of it's commercialized now with, with commercial partners. How SLS, we really dig into the actual economics of SLS. We also look at the actual missions between how SLS will get humans out to the moon into near rectilinear halo orbit, what the heck that is, and how that differs from the Apollo program and the Saturn V's missions. It's very different. That script is it's coming together, but yeah, it'll be really. I can't wait. But I do have to get the studio space a little more in place before I shoot like a cool video. So, All right, so yeah, back in Kennedy Space Center, I don't know. Maybe by the end of the year if there's a mission worth going to, but otherwise I'm probably just going to stay home and stay safe and get caught up on a lot of things. Digital Photo Nets, thank you so much. Controlled Chaos, my semi is 72 feet. Electron is 59. You could fit the Electron rocket inside of your semi. But your semi is, I think 72 feet must include the everything, including the cab and everything, the actual tractor, the truck itself. Because the trailer, I think trailers typically max out around 53 feet, if I recall. Yeah. Let's see here. Nick Perry says, I'm going for a walk to watch it. I hope you're still on that walk and hopefully it's somewhere beautiful where you are. Framrick, this is Richard. Hey, Richard. Awesome. Say hi to Felix. Yeah. What about it? I love Felix. Felix is awesome. I was actually watching Felix's coverage of the GPS launch. I could not stream that day. I had like 2 contractors and I was just in the middle of like way too much stuff at the time. So I was peeking over at Felix's stream in the middle of running around and lots of errands trying to deal. I'm basically might as well just live in the whatchamacallit store. So Tim, check Twitter. Okay, check Twitter. Twitter.com. I'm sure it's Rocket Lab. Let's see. It's pretty bare bones, unfortunately. It's not really giving us too much information, but an issue was experienced today during Rocket Lab's launch that caused the loss of the vehicle. We are deeply sorry to the customers on board Electron. The issue occurred late into the flight during the second stage burn. More information will be provided as it becomes available. Oh, man. We love you. Keep your head up. We know you'll get it figured out in no time. There we go. Boom. Retweet this. Pics, or does this mean to say pics because no pics because it didn't happen? Was that too soon? Oh. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, well. Oh, man. Yeah. Of course they had customers on board. Oh, wait. Yeah, not the customers. No, they did not have any customers on the rocket. They were flying customers' payloads. I see what you mean. No. Yeah. Man, that's too bad. Okay, well, let's get back to your guys' things. Thomas, does Rocket Lab really intend to send this tiny rocket to the moon? Yes, of course. It's not an intention. It's something they're getting paid for. They are sending something to the moon. Now, don't forget, they aren't sending the whole rocket to the moon. Really, for the most part, things that land on the moon, it takes about 100 pounds. It's like 2 orders of magnitude. So like 100 or 100 kilograms, same ratio, whatever. If you have 100 kilograms of fuel to get 1 kilogram, 100 kilograms of rocket to get 1 kilogram to the moon. So the Electron's payload capacity for a lunar mission will be very, very, very small, but of course it's capable of doing it, Let's see. Yeah, man, all right, let's keep going here. Yeah, so Thomas, we will see that hopefully once they are back. That was actually going to be a very upcoming mission, a very soon mission. Hopefully they get back on track soon and get back at it. But yeah, at this point, unfortunately, we're going to kind of have to wait and see when that is because I have no idea right now. Let's see here. Renau, how's it going? Hello, Tim. Let's hope for the candle being lit, not a fireworks show today. Crap. I wish I could read these comments better in real time, because someone even said that on Twitter earlier. Like, hope for a fireworks show today on the 4th of July, which in the United States, it's like our number one day of fireworks. So, dang it. Thanks for now, though. We still love you, Rocket Lab. You are still our beloved little rocket company. Okay, Ground-Based Space says, Tim, you have inspired me to start my own YouTube channel and Facebook page. I'm UK-based, so hoping to do a lot of content that follows UK developments. Thank you. That is awesome. Ground-Based Space, good luck. Consistency. Not necessarily consistency like, you don't have to do the weekly thing. Trust me, I'm the epitome of not like weekly content. But just do it right and make improvements and look for growth. Those are the number one things. Just like, don't give up, make improvements, and look for growth. If you're not seeing growth, make some changes until you do. If you're not embarrassed by the videos that you were making a year ago, or if you're not embarrassed on things you were doing, if you're writing, drawing, something, if you aren't embarrassed by the stuff you're doing a year ago, you're not growing. And that's just something I live by that. Jens or Hens Krabbe says, nominal Tim Dodd. Hey, it's me. Just nominal me. Tajamo, new place looks great, Tim. Came to your channel. Where was it? Came to your channel for the suit and music, but stayed for the deep dives and detailed analysis. Now a fellow space nerd. That's awesome. See, that's what it's all about is just coming together, hanging out, and learning about spaceflight together. So thank you very much, Tiamo. Bucky, happy Independence Day. Thank you. John Ellis, for EJ, confirm Chet is go. That's for EJ, huh? That's awesome. Chet is go. Struno, thank you very much. That was very nice of you. You did not have to do that. Thank you. I did already say hi to What About It. I think I missed that earlier, Richard. But thank you, Richard. And yes, hello, Felix. T-Town Joe, stellar commentary. This is why I watch you. Please keep it up. You're welcome, T-Town Joe. I'm sorry that today's commentary wasn't very fun. Yeah. Let's see here. Prediction, battery hot swap failed and the engine shut down to lack of the pump. I think that's definitely the current ongoing, theory. Oh, sorry about that. But thank you, Nozumo. Best buddy, Monka, make the sign red or orange. We can do whatever we want. Let's go more orange. There we go. Orange for, everyday astronaut and stuff. Senator, pretty ironic name for the mission. Lost Pics didn't happen. Agreed, honestly. Right now, as soon as the control room looked like Boeing's control room during their orbital test flight a few months ago, it was pretty concerning. Hope that Rocket Lab figures out what happened quickly and gets back. I absolutely agree with now. I think they will figure it out pretty quick, honestly. There's so much data on these vehicles. There is like an insane amount of data recorded, and it was still recording data even after the engine shut down or whatever ended up happening. I have no doubt that they'll figure out exactly what happened and be able to make tweaks to it to make it a better system. So, this is a great question here. Barbara Force in our Discord asks, are the margins really that small where they need to shed the weight of the batteries? Absolutely. So the way that works, the upper stage, don't forget, the upper stage goes to orbit pretty much. On Electron, it goes slightly shy of orbit, so they intentionally deorbit, and then they use the kick stage to do the final orbiting maneuvers. But it's basically taking everything up to orbit. So anything that doesn't get shed reduces from the payload mass. So think about that. If they have 50 kilograms of batteries and they took those to orbit, if they could get rid of those sooner, you would free up. Well, you wouldn't quite free up 50 kilograms because you're not ditching them at the very beginning, but ditching them early does help free up. I think Peter Beck said that for every kilogram they add to the or for every 8 kilograms they add to the first stage, it only reduces the payload capability by 1 kilogram. So it's an 8-to-1 ratio. By ditching the batteries sometime early on, it might be like a 2-to-1. But he said in my first interview, that was the thing that made it close. Like that is what made an electric pump possible to be able to put a substantial amount of payload into orbit. So, yeah. T plus 220. What is going on? Okay. Everyone's talking about going to T plus 220, but what did we miss? And there's nothing at T plus 220. What are you guys talking about? Okay, I'll look. I'll show you guys. T plus 220. We're looking at it. If you're talking about the ice that falls off. Oh. Something kind of peeling. Oh, wait. I think that's just their logo peeling off. That's not that concerning, and it's in the vacuum of space. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Because that's on the first stage. That has nothing to do with the upper stage. That's literally just like a decal. that's nothing to react to. If you think a decal getting slightly peeled back during ascent, during 3 Gs of acceleration is something that caused the failure of the upper stage, I think you're missing a little bit of data, personally. Yeah, that's just a sticker. And that is on the first stage, don't forget. So once it detaches, it has nothing to do. There's no variables that are attached from the first stage to the upper stage. So, yeah. So, yeah. Nope, nothing. Look at Max Q. Check Rocket Lab Twitter. We already did that. We've checked Rocket Lab Twitter. Is there another update from them? I will keep their Twitter feed open. Let's see. I know that Peter Beck did something. Twitter.com, Rocket Lab USA, I think. Or is that? Okay, just Rocket Lab. 9, okay. Yeah, those are just the ones that we've already talked about. Oh man, that's too bad. Okay, let's keep going here. Yeah, but thank you, Renaud, again. Free flow. Does Rocket Lab have to compensate customers? So there's insurance. There's launch insurance, and that's actually calculated out by a lot of things. I don't know anything about being a rocket launch underwriter. I have no idea, but yeah, there's insurance for that. I'm sure most likely it'll probably require like a free flight for sure for the next one. But yeah, who knows? Yeah. Macbeth, Musk's bug enabled. I hope not. I think Peter Beck and Elon are very respectful of each other's work. I've heard Peter Beck talk about Elon being a game changer and speaking very highly of him. I think they both have very similar goals and very similar. They're two aligning humans. They are not like going at each other. So SpaceX is taking on the big stuff. Rocket Lab seems to be taking on the little stuff. Rocket Lab's kind of like the Uber, and SpaceX is like the freight train delivering a lot of big stuff. So yeah, there's no right answer to any of that stuff. So check out first stage. Yeah, we did. Sorry, it is just peeling. No big deal. Suranus. Hey, Tim, at New Studio, is it possible to license your music for small space company employee video? What's the best way to contact you? If it's something that's not like a commercial or something where you're like making money off of the song, feel free to use my music. If you are a creator, you're a YouTube creator, you're creating educational content, you're just making videos of you racing drones or something, whatever, like my music is for you. I intentionally did not register it as a licensable music for that reason, so that it wouldn't get flagged on YouTube. I just think that stuff's really annoying. I just want people to utilize my music for free. But if it is like a full-blown like big thing, go ahead and reach out to me. But otherwise, have at it. And good luck with your small space company. Marcus, does Space Lab know what has happened, or Rocket Lab, or Space Lab? Because they probably, because there's Planet Labs and there's Rocket Lab, but there's no Space Lab. I'm sure they probably do know about what happened. So I will be getting to KSP here in a second. I just want to get caught up on you guys real quick. Yeah, so hopefully, I'm sure they have data on it, and I'm pretty sure they'll get it figured out relatively quickly. Overlook Horizon, how's it going? Awesome. Thank you so much. There's a lot of work to do still, so don't judge it yet, but thank you. We have a theory here from someone that I'm unfortunately cannot read, but my theory, once the battery hot swap failed, the voltage dropped, this stalled the fuel pump, no thrust, and lowered signal strength to the point where there wasn't enough bandwidth for video. That very well could be. That could be. Actually, yeah, because a video is going to be a lot less important to them than the actual telemetry. So let's see. So people were looking at, guys, Aviation 365. We talk about the condensation on a rocket ascent. That has nothing to do with the rocket engines. That exhaust is wind. Those are huge layers between at certain altitude layers where wind can be going hundreds of kilometers in one way, and literally like just above it in the different layer, it's going another direction. It's normal to see the exhaust look like this during that area where the condensation and all the particulate matter happens. So, yeah, Peter. Thank you so much. Keep all of our heads up. Absolutely. It's a rough year for everybody. I'm sorry. Mason, Long Beach, California isn't too bad. I live right in downtown. Well, maybe it's just bad amongst some of the people that are working, so they're taking precautions themselves. Yeah. Well, let's just say they can't even get tested. That's how bad it is for a week, which to me, that's pretty bad. So, yeah, I'm taking the trust and the safety of the manager of the shop to run the shop as safe and as best as possible and not risk. There's someone that was in contact with someone with COVID. So they're taking it very safe. And by in contact, I mean like live with. So yeah. Edward, what tried to exfoliate in the first stage before separation? Yeah, I think that was just the logo. Marcus, can you have a shout out? Hey, how's it going, Marcus? Thanks for saying hi. Don Bavend, they will learn from this, Tim, and be back stronger. Absolutely. 100%. SpaceX has made such a better rocket because they've had failures and had to learn from them. And they use that entire theory as how to build Starship in a hurry. So, yeah, if anyone is worried about failure, like taking down a rocket company, normally it just makes them better and makes the whole team. Sometimes it takes a failure like that for the whole team to help remember why their job is so important. Every single person at that company right now is probably going, what could I have done to avoid this? And what can I do now to avoid anything like this in the future? Sometimes it takes that cultural shift. Rocket Lab is a very go with the flow, easygoing company, and I love that about them. And I'm not saying that in any way contributes to quality craftsmanship or work or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I know that Elon even mentioned that for SpaceX, their first failure was like a huge light bulb for a lot of people that had never been on a mission that had failed before. And sometimes it just takes that like realization that, oh, things can fail, to really drill it in. So, yeah. Which is just still too bad. Chris Tuttle says you can see the rocket begin to overcorrect and oscillate before losing video. I didn't really see that per se. I don't know what it would overcorrect for. I didn't necessarily see anything like that, but The guru is you. The height and speed with the rocket fully burn up or chance of reentry to an unfortunate drop point. Well, that is why they launch over the ocean, so that even if it survives reentry, which it probably will not, because the first stage has to be oriented perfectly, heat shield first and the engines first, perfectly to avoid breaking up. Because that plasma that gets built up in the bow shock and because all that's happening when you're coming back from space is you're hitting the atmosphere, and the atmosphere can't get out of the way of whatever is re-entering because it's going so fast it can't get out of the way fast enough. And what ends up happening is it compresses the air, and as the air gets compressed, it actually changes from the gaseous state into plasma, and it gets really, really hot, like as hot as the sun, literally. And because that's like what the sun has, so it would likely not. It would likely not survive. Almost no way, because it's almost at orbital velocity. It was a good 2 or 3 times faster than the first stage. Yeah. Yeah, we already talked about Ronnie. We talked about the tweets already. Matt, thank you. Let's see. I think this will push back the recovery efforts. Probably not make any changes to the recovery efforts, since this was a second stage thing and the first stage is where they are doing recovery. Hopefully not, at least. Alex, that looks like the vinyl sticker peeling. Yep, agreed. Tyler, I do find it funny this mission was called Pics or it didn't happen. When the feed cuts out, guess that means it didn't fail. No, it means it did fail because there was no longer Pics. So Pics, no Pics, because it didn't happen, unfortunately. And Jorge, hey Tim, big fan from Bolivia. This sucks. I love Rocket Lab. Time for good news. Argentina will be launching their first satellite on a Falcon rocket. Hoping to see you there. Happy 4th. That is awesome. Which I don't know which Argentinian satellite is launching first, but that is awesome. That is excellent news. I'm going to fire up Kerbal Space Program here real quick. Show you guys just kind of a real quick approximation of what happens when when an engine shuts off and how it can still kind of be going up before it starts dropping. So I can't believe it was the 13th launch. Like, what are the odds of it failing on the 13th flight? I mean, come on. Isn't that just as stereotypical as it gets? Why does that happen? Why couldn't it have been anything else? I have not fired up. Kerbal made some updates that I'm really excited to check out. So, yeah, we'll see if we can kind of replicate it there pretty easily. So give me a second here. It's still firing up. Pan says, what are the odds? 1 in 13. Technically, yes. Justin, I jumped in late. What mission failed? This mission that the Electron Pics or it didn't happen mission was a failure to get to orbit. The upper stage did not. It ended up losing data, or we lost video data, and then it started to fall back to Earth, and it looks like they just lost propulsion on the upper stage, unfortunately. So hopefully they learned from it, of course. Oh, man. Again, big bummer, but okay, here we go. We are pulling up Kerbal Space Program. What's new? There's a lot of updates. That's great. Okay, close. Start game. We're just going to do a little bit of an everyday astronaut one. Good enough. Okay, so let's just build ourselves a little tiny baby Electron, basically. It's so weird that it was 13. I know I'm going to say that a lot. So the Electron is tiny. Because of that, we're going to use pretty much all the smallest parts in Kerbal Space Program. And we're going to make it so it can barely get into orbit, too, so that we actually... Because it's really easy to get into orbit on Kerbin, which is a smaller planet than... and we're going to put a heavy battery in here, too, just so it's kind of, has to work to get it into space. We're not going to try ditching the battery, so... but yeah, Kerbin, the planet in Kerbal Space Program, is smaller than Earth by 10 times, so it's a lot easier to get up into orbit. We're going to use this maybe as our... That's probably going to be too weak, even thrust to weight ratio wise. Yeah, that's probably going to be way too weak. Even like that, way too weak. Let's stick the Terrier on there. Or where's that Ant? That one Ant engine or whatever. Wait, that was the Ant. What's the other one? There's another. This one's probably about right. Spark. Spark's gonna be our guy. There we go. And what's this thrust to weight ratio? 2.3. Perfect. And it'll be a little heavier there in a second too. And we actually want one of these engine plates. Oh, the engine plates still don't go big enough. Dang it. Let's see. Joshua, thank you for inspiring me to take engineering. That's awesome, Joshua. Chris Tuttle says at T525 we can actually see it doing stuff. Let's check that out. Okay, let's just watch it real quick here. That's pretty normal guidance stuff. That's pretty normal. Maybe. That looked, I mean, honestly, that looked fairly normal. I mean, it's not always the same, but it does kind of do that as it's just trying to hone in on its guidance. Yeah, but even if, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much more because I feel like we're already beyond, we're just into pure speculation mode, and I just don't really think we need to do that. Oh, look at all of this. I don't want the engine shroud. No. Goodbye. And then what we're going to do to make it look good, because I hate when there's a thing like that, we're just going to go like this and close that baby off. Okay, can we change the tank's color? I know, oh, closer to black. Still not quite black, but closer to black. Okay, and this is going to be our first stage. Dang it. Oh well, good enough. And we, like I said, we want this thing to just barely kind of eke into orbit, frankly. So we're gonna put a bunch of little itty bitty engines on it because they're so cute. 8 of these guys. Let's see how these guys do for thrust to weight ratio. Sea level 1.48. So we could actually stretch this thing a little bit more. We're gonna have to put something pretty heavy. Here's what we're gonna do too. We're gonna do just 3 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. And really lower its thrust to weight ratio a little bit at least. Make it somewhat realistic. Again, this is a lot easier to get into orbit on Kerbals in the Kerbal system than it is anything else. I'll just rotate these guys in to make it kind of look like, hello. There we go. That's pretty cool. Okay, we got to put a center engine on there. This is actually a pretty decent little Electron analog, frankly. Can we? Oh no, that's my nightmare. No, that's also my nightmare. Get in there. Okay. Get right in the center. There we go. Pretty decent looking, frankly. Yeah, see? Look. Electron, no big deal. Has way too frankly, I keep saying frankly. Quite frankly, it just has way too much power. We're going to go orange instead of white. Okay, so this is getting close. Let's stick a big, heavy payload, even though, again, normally it can't actually launch that big of a payload because it's just a little tiny Electron. But we want something heavy. Why don't we just launch up like this or something and just stuff it full? Oh, look at that. That really dropped our payload capacity big time. And a vacuum. Oh, that's not much delta V in that upper stage, is it? Let's copy that tankage real quick. I know this isn't the most efficient way of doing this. I do apologize. Where is that little guy? This little guy. You're going to go that color again. You're that. Okay. Now I have to rebuild this because, darn it. Okay. Let's go something. What's heavier? What's something kind of big and heavy and silly and ridiculous? 0.5. No. 0.05, I mean. These are not heavy. These are not heavy enough. I want them to be heavier. What is it? 1.25. I don't know. That's probably more like it. What? Oh yeah. Sea level. Wait, thruster. Oops. I think this is about the right scale. Ooh, someone made a Rutherford mod? That is awesome. Okay, so I still want something a little bit smaller but heavier, if that makes any sense. Let's just put on a little, let's do a little one of these guys. Oh, they normally would still have a whole kick stage that'd fly around. We could even do that. Why not? Let's build this thing in reverse. We won't even, I don't know why. No, let's not waste our time on this because we're going to be just ditching this thing anyway. So let's just throw some fuel tanks on this just as payload mass. There we go. Make sure fuel crossfeed is, it is disabled. Now let's build a little fairing. No big deal. Oh no, it's doing that thing. I'll have to go slightly wider, which is going to bug me. Oh, come on. Come on. Sculpt this thing like Da Vinci. And then let's change the color to that. Good enough. There is our Electron Rocket. Oh, I've done Kerbal and Real Solar System. I've done it all. I've done RS, Real Solar System mods, real everything, basically. I've done it all. It just, I don't like, I wish we could do Real Solar System, but stock parts like this. That's all I want. Okay. I think that's about right. Let's take this thing off. Pixar didn't happen. I'm gonna capitalize all of it. I don't know. That's gonna bug me. It didn't happen. It didn't. Okay, let's take this thing out to the pad. Yep. Yeah, and Rotten Potato does say Elon Musk said once failure is an option. If you're not failing, you're not innovating enough. It's very, very true. I really do believe in that sentiment. You guys know my live streams are rarely anything but a giant fail fest. So yeah. All right, we're just gonna take this thing off here. 3, 2, 1, hip hip. Very loud in my headphones and inaudible for you guys. I am. Okay, so this is kind of what happens. The first stage goes up as you expect, and the only reason a rocket goes up in the first place is literally to get out of the atmosphere. If you have a planet with no atmosphere, like if you're taking off on the moon, on a planetary body like the moon that has no atmosphere, if you're at the highest point, you can literally just point sideways and speed up fast enough, well, sideways-ish, and make sure you're not going to fall back down. Speed up fast enough, go fast enough, and you'll be in orbit. The only reason they have to go up really is to get out of the thickest parts of the atmosphere. and then they slowly start to pitch a rocket over. And that's the first stage is mostly to get the upper stage out of the atmosphere and begin to pitch over and start injecting a lot of that horizontal velocity, because it's that horizontal velocity that actually makes it stay in space. To go up to space, to get to space, you go up. To stay in space, you have to go sideways really, really, really fast. And that's mostly what happens. All right, so we're just going to kind of keep pitching over here, because this first stage will do, about a 45. At least on Kerbin, you kind of go 45-ish by about 10,000. I'm a little late, but whatever. So now we're out of the thickest parts of the atmosphere. One of the things that is unique to the Electron rocket is that it can burn all the way to engine depletion, to the point where there is absolutely nothing left over in the tanks, because they don't have to worry about starving the engines. A turbo pump fueled engine, you can't really do that. If you let them run out of fuel, it starts ingesting. It can cause like cavitations and start ingesting bubbles and end up actually blowing up. You can blow up an engine prematurely if you let it get to that point where it's being starved potentially. So the Electron, though, because it's electronic fuel pumps, it does not matter at all. So you can see it's kind of heating up here a little bit. We are getting this thing, it's getting a little spicy, and that happens in real life. But luckily, we're also getting further and further out of the atmosphere, where the air is thinner and thinner. And I always forget I actually have a thing here now that I can... Oopsies. No. Where is the... No. Okay, that's the one. Okay, so then the stages separate. And we're going to ramp up the second stage ignition so it looks real. And now the second stage is burning. Now notice, down here you can see our apoapsis, our highest point on the bottom left of the screen. We're going to let that go up to about 150, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pointing straight sideways. So there's a point where the altitude isn't increasing that much. You'll notice here, our altitude is almost no longer increasing so much. What's happening is our orbit's getting wider and wider and wider and wider, and less like a up and down roller coaster and more into a circle. That's what getting into orbit is. And now what happened, they had, their fairing go like it was supposed to. And then all of a sudden, before it actually got into orbit, something like this happened. And yeah, let me kind of keep pointing down so we're not going too high. Actually, let's really lower that. And somewhere around here, all of a sudden the engine cut out. Now what's going to happen, you'll notice the speed, in this case, well, we were taking a little bit too steep of a trajectory. If we were going flatter, our speed actually almost wouldn't change at all. Our speed is going down immediately because we're still going uphill. But you'll notice eventually when we get to our apoapsis, our highest point, our speed will actually stall out. And it'll look like it's... So look at this. So it's actually going faster now because it's falling. We are now past the highest point. It is falling. It's accelerating with 9.8 meters per second. Maybe slightly less because we're a little bit further away. Gravitational pull does go down by the square inverse law. So the inverse square law. Inverse square law. I keep saying that backwards. Square inverse law. The inverse square law. Yeah, and now it's just falling back to Earth, and that's pretty much what happened. And so you can tell too, once it hits the atmosphere, it'd have a very hard time. This is again Kerbal Space Program, so it's not as punishing of an atmosphere, not as punishing amount of gravity. So there's a good chance all this stuff will survive because yeah, it's Kerbal. But yeah, it's now you can see the plasma buildup, and that's what happens when there's an airstream, when you're compressing air so much that it goes from a gas into plasma. It gets really, really, really hot. And yeah, if you're not properly shielded and you don't have the right materials that can handle that high temperature, they will blow up like that. Actually, that just kind of surprised me. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of what happened, guys. Yeah, that's Let's see here. Nozumo Yume says, look at Max Q. Wind shear hit hard, damage second stage. Let's take a look at that real quick. I don't know. Again, I don't really want to speculate on that stuff too much because they will have all the data on that and they'll let us know. Max Q is right around. Again, you can't really tell by the. Here, let me pull it up here. Hang on here.
Plus 45 seconds into flight, we've had a successful liftoff from Pad A at Launch Complex 1. Next up will be Max Q, which is the point when the rocket is under the maximum amount of aerodynamic stress during its ascent.
I mean, this all looks pretty normal. It is too bad that they had video dropouts almost the whole time like that. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but it's just unusual. This is one of the first launches where we didn't have. That was a good amount of scooting sliding from that layer there. That was pretty active. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty active, but I doubt that really had anything to do with anything. But yeah. Well, guys, let's see here. Razimbot, thank you. And hi. I think I'm going to get out of here. Try to, move on. Still celebrate my country's independence like I should be, I guess. But yeah, dang it. I'll light a firework off in Rocket Lab's honor today. And I'm being sincere in that. Like that's, again, remember, it's not a fun thing for a mission to fail. Yeah. Edward wants to know, why does SpaceX Electron use kilometers an hour, not meters per second? Kilometers an hour is just a lot more familiar to the average person. Even if you're not necessarily, if you're not familiar with the metric system and you don't know, at least cars operate in kilometers an hour. I think just for the telemetry on screen like that, they do that just so people have a grasp of how fast it's going. Meters per second just means not nearly as much to the average person. Definitely doesn't mean almost anything to me, unfortunately. And I'm even pretty well versed, but I just don't measure anything in meters per second other than rocket stuff. So, yeah. All right, guys. Let's see. Let me double check. If they used parsecs per light year, yeah. Another new tweet from Rocket Lab. Let's check that out real quick here before I sign off, just in case there's anything new. I do want to make sure we're staying on top of this. Nope, no new tweets. Those are all old tweets unless they're tweet replies, which there are not. Okay, guys. Well, yeah, Solomon Smith wanted to know my thoughts on OneWeb. So OneWeb, the United Kingdom actually bought up some shares of the bankrupt-ish OneWeb. So OneWeb is competing to do global internet constellations similar to SpaceX's Starlink. To be honest, I would find it extremely hard to compete with Starlink. I would not want to be in that game. I would not want to be competing against Starlink, because Starlink, think about it, top-down integration where they're building the satellites and operating them in-house. They are manufacturing and improving them in-house. They're launching 60 at a time on the cheapest launch vehicle with no markup on the launch cost because they're launching them themselves on their own rocket. Every aspect of that entire transaction is undercutting anyone else's efforts. Even, I think OneWeb launches 12, or was it 20? I think 12 satellites at a time on a Soyuz. And Soyuz is already, to begin with, more expensive. They're only launching 12 at a time, so 5 times less satellites. Granted, their constellation is going to have less satellites altogether than Starlink's, but I just don't know how you could possibly compete, frankly. And yeah. Yeah. I just don't see how you can compete. I hope that they figure it out. I hope that there's some kind of something they can sell that can offset some of the stuff, but I just don't know how it could. I don't know how it could ever, honestly, compete. 34 to 36 per Soyuz launch for OneWeb. Thank you very much. There we go. Those are the facts. 30. So even if it's half the amount of satellites, on a more expensive rocket. Yeah, it would probably take much less launches altogether still, but yeah. I would love to do more Kerbal. Oh, I forgot to put on slow chat. That's probably why I'm seeing people spamming. Sorry, guys. Please don't spam. I should have done that a long time ago. That's why today's chat was exceptional. I probably won't be doing any more Kerbal. I'm already been here for, an hour and a half or something. And yeah, it's time to get out there, go outside, enjoy the weather. It is beautiful. So yeah. Oh, awesome. Lululiam9 daughter is going to study astronautical engineering. That is awesome. Please study your butt off and make some awesome discoveries for us, because we need some good news right now. We need something to look forward to in humanity, and that's what I love about spaceflight. Is it's in general, even amidst failures, we can still come together and cheer each other on, and still be excited for all of the things. So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Stand by. This studio will be new and improved, and much more improved next time you guys see me. So I'll just keep working my butt off here to try to get this done, and then get a new video out for you guys. There'll definitely be at least 2 videos coming out in July. So fingers crossed. We're July 4th. Hopefully we'll have one out here in the next 2 weeks, and then hopefully another one out before the end of the month. So, all right, guys, if you guys want to join our awesome Discord channel and get some more behind the scenes stuff, go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. And thank you so much to all of those of you that have been patient with me and have not seen or heard much from me amidst everything here. So I just really appreciate that. And stand by, because there will be a lot more. So, all right, guys, happy 4th of July to the rest of you that are in the United States. Please be safe. Maintain some social distancing, please, because we are not doing so well right now. And be safe with fireworks if you are anywhere near them. So, all right, thanks, guys. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Bye, everybody.